thank you everyone for joining us. I know Dr. Gardner is still admitting students to our session, but this is the Criminal Justice Advising for New Student Orientations. My name is Dr. Malakote, and I'm going to be your presenter today. And we also have Dr. Gardner here, who is going to be in our chat answering questions. Just a little bit about me. I have been a faculty member here at Cal State Fullerton since 2003. I received my PhD in 2003 from the University of Colorado at Boulder. The work that I do, I teach courses, our intro course, I teach our corrections class. I also run our peer mentor program, and my research focuses primarily on female offenders, as well as female victims of crime, gender issues in criminology, and capital punishment. Prior to coming to Cal State Fullerton, I spent a number of years working in juvenile corrections. So I'll let Dr. Gardner go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Gardner. I've been at Cal State Fullerton since 2008. So I'm going on my 14th year here. I got my doctorate at UC Irvine and my area, and I also went to Cambridge in England for my MPhil. So anybody who is interested in studying abroad, come talk to me because it's a fabulous experience. Dr. Malakote and I actually, fun fact, did our study abroad year during our junior years of college at the same university, a few years apart. So we were both at the University of Lancaster in England, and then I returned for my master's at Cambridge University. So again, if you're looking for that sort of thing, I would be happy to talk with you. So with Dr. Malakote, super duper experiences, and hopefully you will all have that opportunity before you graduate. I did my PhD at UC Irvine as well as my undergraduate degree, and my area of specialty is policing. Prior to becoming an academic, I worked in policing in civilian roles for about a decade, as well as I did a stint as a juvenile probation officer as well. So I'm happy to answer all sorts of questions you guys may have over the next 4 years. You can find both Dr. Malakote and I on the 4th floor of Gordon Hall. I'm sorry, the 5th floor. It has been so long since we've been at our offices. I forgot what floor we worked on. So 5th floor, you can come find us.
Absolutely. As you can see, we're really excited to get back to campus. We're really excited to be back up on the hallways and be in classes. So hopefully, you all will come see us on campus. But we are here today just to talk about so much information. And there is a lot that we'll cover.
If you have questions, sorry to interrupt. If you have questions, add that to the chat and I will get to those. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You did that on the first session and I totally forgot to mention it because you're so much better at this than I am. Sorry.
No problem. No problem.
I'm going to mute myself now and turn my camera off. And I am here to answer all your questions that you might have as Dr. Malakote gets started.
Perfect. Yeah, no, and if you notice, Dr. Gardner and I were talking about each other as Dr. Malakote, Dr. Gardner. And I think that's probably actually one of the things that's really different between this transition from high school to college, in that so many of the faculty that you're going to be working with, both Dr. Gardner and I, spent, close to or over a decade in higher education, from undergrad to graduate school. And so we both have our PhDs. And so you will come across most of your faculty will have master's degrees, PhDs, law degrees, right? And so really the big difference, one of the big differences right away coming into the university setting is that most of your faculty are going to be referred to as doctor or professor. You really won't find faculty that are referred to by either their first name, Mr. or Mrs. So that's always kind of your first clue that things are a little bit different. Some of the other things that are going to be different, there's a lot of other things that are different this semester, right? We're coming out of a global pandemic, and that means that classes, some are still going to be online, some are going to be face-to-face, right? About 65% of our classes are in person back on campus this semester, and we are thrilled about that. as I mentioned, there's going to be a lot of information here, and this recording will eventually be uploaded to the orientation site. But in the meantime, I do encourage students to take screenshots. Dr. Gardner is also going to be posting links that you can save in the chat. So there's lots of information. But today we're going to talk about just our major, our program, how you can be successful, what sort of classes do you take, what are some of the different ways that you can get involved, right? And where do you go for more information? But kind of the first thing, speaking of things being different, I did want to highlight something that I think is really important here for the fall, and that is a lot of this news and information about the coronavirus vaccination requirements. So currently at Cal State Fullerton, students are highly encouraged to get the vaccine. They're really pushing out the drive. And really one of the things here is that students who choose not to get the vaccine, you will be required to test weekly. And that's a really important component of this fall reentry and being able to be back on campus. At this time, we have been told that masks will be required for campuses, even though here statewide, tomorrow, right? A lot of places are lifting those mask requirements. Disneyland just announced they're lifting them. At this point in time, we believe that masks will still be required on campus. So that's something to think about. And if you want more information about kind of this ever-changing rules and practices, right, you can visit the coronavirus.fullerton.edu website. Now, in the CSU, there has been a system-wide notice that once a vaccine receives full approval by the FDA, vaccines will be mandatory for all in-person classes. We don't know what the timeline of that will be. So as of right now, students are highly encouraged, and if you choose not to get them, you will be required to test weekly. Now, in order to upload your proof of vaccination, I've included kind of a link here, which gives you step-by-step instructions, but you can also find that information at coronavirus.fullerton.edu. So, kind of thinking here specifically about why you guys are here, which is criminal justice, right? Criminal justice is the academic study of crime, law, and the justice system. So just as Dr. Gardner and I talked about, that we have been practitioners, we have worked within the system, we are academics who study this system and the way in which it works and the way in which it functions. And it really is an interdisciplinary course of study within the social sciences. So my PhD is in sociology. We have faculty who are PhDs in psychology, in crime law and society, in criminal justice, in criminology. And so you have a variety of faculty from a number of different backgrounds. And we're all pulling research from health sciences and nursing and psychology and sociology and criminology and all of these different fields, ethnic studies, right? When we're doing our research, when we're doing our teaching. So it is very interdisciplinary. It is important to note that the major is not a job training program, right? We're not going to be out there teaching you investigation skills, and we're not going to be out there, teaching you firearms tactics, right? That's not what we do here. But what we do is within this academic study, it's going to provide you with skills and experiences and critical thinking and background in research to help you be successful both within criminal justice system fields, so policing, courts, corrections, nonprofit organizations, but also related fields as well. Again, kind of leaning towards that interdisciplinary nature, right? So we're really focusing on things like critical thinking, research and writing skills, and really just this exposure to very diverse perspectives and research. And, certainly, unless you've been under a rock this last year, there's a lot of conversations going on in criminal justice. And we get really excited about talking about those conversations and really looking at the research in those fields, right? Whether we're talking about body-worn cameras, whether or not we're talking about capital punishment, and whether or not we should resume federal executions, right? All of those things we're talking about in our classes from a variety of diverse perspectives. And so that's really what kind of makes the heart of criminal justice as a discipline. So how can faculty help you be successful, right? First off, every class is going to have a course syllabi. And I always describe my course syllabi as a contract for my class. It's going to tell you all of the rules and the regulations. It's going to tell you where to go for help, but it's also going to tell you what you need to do in order to be successful in my class, in Dr. Gardner's class, right? Whoever your faculty member is, right? Reading that course syllabi is going to give you that foundation. Introduce yourself to your faculty. Let us know who you are, right? We are so eager to really get to know our students again, especially after this online experience. And even in the online experience, right, being kind of here and present and cameras on and introducing yourself and participating in chats and emailing your professors, right? Making that interpersonal connection is super valuable, right? It makes that learning experience so much more fun for everybody involved, but it also means that when it comes time here in a few years and you want to look at a letter of recommendation to apply to maybe Orange County probation or law school or something like that, we know who you are, right? And we can really describe who you are and why you're going to be successful and why we would recommend you into these various different fields and capacities. Ask questions, right? There's no such thing as a stupid question. We love questions. Hopefully Dr. Gardner's got a whole bunch of them in chat right now, right? That she's able to answer just here today. But in classes, ask questions, right? Contribute to conversations. Visit faculty during office hours, whether those office hours are in person or Zoom, right? I think we're going to continue to see a hybrid of both, even with those classes that are on campus. And that is really just kind of alluding to the flexible nature of this world that we're in and taking advantage of technology. And finally, reach out for help. We are here to help you be successful, right? Going to a faculty member to visit them in office hours, that's time where your professor has set aside time to help you, right? We're like sitting there like waiting, students come, it's like, come play with us, come talk to us, right? We want to be here to help you, right? And particularly there's going to be a transition period here this next year, right? Coming and letting us know, here's where I'm doing great, here's where I need a little bit more help. How can you help me be successful? That's what your faculty are here for. Thinking of that school life balance, right? Most freshman students tend to take 12 to 15 units each semester. We talk about that if you want to graduate in 4 years, you need to take 30 units every academic year. So if you're only attending classes during the fall and the spring semester, that means that 15 units per semester. If you're going to take some classes during winter or summer session, you might be able to get away with 12 units per semester if you add those extra classes in the summer. If you don't, and you only take 12 units each semester, you're going to graduate in 5 years. Now, how do you decide how many units to take? Well, that might be predicting on what else you have going on outside school, right? I have learned in the 18 years that I've been at Cal State Fullerton is that students are incredibly busy and school is just one thing that you do, right? And so thinking about what are those outside demands on your time, whether that be work or family or commuting. And the more obligations you have outside of school, the fewer units you should take on campus, right? It's very difficult to do everything, right? At some point, something has to give. And we want to make sure that you have time to do your school, to be at your classes, to do the prep work that you need to do to be successful, but also make sure that you have time, to take care of yourself, whether that's, going to the gym and, getting a good workout in, spending time with family, right? Having that down social time. We want to make sure that there's enough hours in the day that you get to do all of that, right? When you're taking a class, for every class that you take, and most classes are 3 credit hours, right? You'll want to spend between 6 to 9 hours studying and completing those class assignments per week, right? Remember, every class you go to, you will need to have done reading ahead of time. You will need to have digested the information, which probably means taking notes. You might have some assignments that you have to do each week, studying for quizzes or exams, right? All of that takes time. And so you're going to want to manage that time accordingly, right? And that means not cramming in that studying last minute, not procrastinating. We talk about organization being so important, right? Especially, if you have any online classes or you're doing asynchronous stuff, you still have to schedule time in your calendar for studying, for commuting, for all of those things. Using a calendar to help keep you organized is really key here. I like to point out a couple of campus resources that are really useful. The University Learning Center has tutors available on a variety of different topics. Our Writing Center, which is run through our English department, they can help provide you some support on your papers, on drafts, right? To make sure that you are following the prompts of the assignment correctly, right? They're not a proofreading service, right? But they are somebody that can help you make sure that you are kind of working appropriately with the assignment, right? Helping educate you about citation format, right? Citing your sources, super important, right? I'm a big stickler in my classes about citation of sources, right? And I know Dr. Gardner is as well. I've also posted a link to our Division of Student Affairs. This is all of our different student centers on campus. So whether that be some of our diversity initiative centers, our honors program, women's center, right? Any of these different things, our CAPS program, right? Counseling and psychological services, our health center. If you go to that link, you'll find all of the virtual links to these facilities, to these centers, activities that they're promoting, ways to meet other students, to engage, ways to find support, right? There are so many resources on campus that, again, are here to help you be successful. All right. So when we think about the academic experience, we can really break this up into kind of 4 different blocks, if you will. Now, at the end of your 4 years, you're going to do 120 units required for graduation, right? And so, like I said, that's about 30 units each year. Now, those 120 units get broken up into 4 different boxes. The first 2 is where you're going to spend the bulk of your time here, this kind of first 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, right? And that's going to be your GE requirements and also the university requirement. The university requirement is new to this catalog year, and that is where you need to take your American government class. In general education, you have 48 units of general education, from critical thinking to math to science, humanities, social sciences, ethnic studies, lifelong learning, and cultural diversity, right? So you'll have those experiences really take up that first year and a half to 2 years. You'll also have your criminal justice major courses. There's 39 units in the criminal justice major, and a couple of those units also will double count between GE and the CJ major. Now, after you've kind of satisfied those 3 blocks, you'll have leftover units, right, in order to get you to the 120. What we don't want you to do is just to take a bunch more of criminal justice classes, right? Employers, whether you're thinking about going into law enforcement, into the courts, into probation, working for nonprofit, they don't just want to see you take a ton of courses in one area. They really want to see breadth and depth of your educational experience. And so this is where maybe you think about picking up a minor, which is optional. It's not required, but it is a nice way to package some of those elective courses, or you can just take general elective units across a wide spectrum of ideas, right? But really, you want to make sure that you're filling each of these 4 boxes and you're not leaving any units out in any area. Right? And really 120 units is the key, because once you fulfill those 3 boxes, GE, university, and major, you're not done. You got to get to 120. You got to fill out that 4th box, right? So that's super important. So a couple of GE considerations of things that we recommend for CJ majors, right? So for those of you that need to complete your GE math requirement, which is category before, I believe, you want to enroll in Math 120, right? Not Math 110 or 115. Math 115 is college algebra. Don't do that, right? Enroll in Math 120, which is probability and statistics. We find that that helps our students be much more successful in their future courses. Now, for those of you in particular that are thinking about going into grad school, I should have said grad school down here, not law school, grad school, right? To satisfy that upper division GE category, you want to consider enrolling in Sociology 303, that's statistics for the social sciences. Super important to help prepare you for the math side of graduate school. Now, if you're interested in going to law school, you should consider registering for Philosophy 106 to satisfy that A3 requirement in critical thinking. As I mentioned, GE classes double count between the major and the minor. You do have to meet a minimum number of unique units. So you do have to kind of keep that in mind. So for a minor, for example, most minors are anywhere between 18 and 21 units, and 12 of those units must be unique to the minor, right? Now in CJ, as I mentioned, CJ 100 and CJ 300 will satisfy the GE requirements for category D1 and also category D3. For those of you that are interested in taking CJ 385, which is our Race in the Criminal Justice System course, that will fulfill the GE requirements for category Z as well as a criminal justice elective. So there are unique ways in which you can double count and really maximize those GE major minor opportunities. When it comes to the major, as I said, there's 39 units. There are 7 required courses. The first one you're going to enroll in this fall, which is CJ 100, Intro to Crime, Law, and Justice. That's the first class you take, and we do strongly recommend that you take it here in the fall, as it's a way for you to really kind of step into the university environment and get connected right away to your major department, right? Make connections, meet your peers, and start to meet your faculty and decide, is this really the major that you want, right? Remember, if you decide it's not the major that you want, that class still counts for D1 GE credit at this time, right? Once you've completed that, sometime in your sophomore year, ideally, probably second semester of your sophomore year, you're going to take CJ 300. That's our Foundations in Criminal Justice Systems class. That course is a co-requisite for all 300 level courses and a prerequisite for 400 level classes. So it's super important that you get that in either second semester of your sophomore year or first semester of your junior year, because it won't let you the system won't let you register for any additional criminal justice classes until you've either enrolled in or have completed CJ 300. After that, we have 5 required classes: law, policing, theory, research methods, and corrections, right? So you'll take basically an area within each of kind of the subfields of criminal justice. You also will take 5 electives. That can basically be any criminal justice class that's not one of these 7, right? 9 of those units, so 3 classes, must be at the 400 level. So that would include like our internship courses. It would also include some of our electives, like Dr. Gardner teaches a course called Policing the City. I teach a course on capital punishment. I also teach classes on women, gender, and crime. We have colleagues who teach courses at the 400 level on gangs and restorative justice, right? So there's a wide variety of specialized topics there. So of the 5 electives, 3 must be at the 400 level. The other 2 can be at the 300 level. So classes that we have at the 300 level include things like victims of crime, criminal courts, controlling crime, and some other topics there as well. You'll also complete 1 writing requirement. Now, most of you will take English 301, which is our college writing class. Those of you that are interested in pre-law, we recommend that you take English 365, which is the legal research and writing class, right? But that's what your major looks like: 39 units, 7 required courses, 5 electives, and 1 writing requirement. So, all righty. I talked a little bit briefly there. I mentioned internships being a 400 level class. There's a couple of different ways in which that works. So internships require 120 hours of work with a local agency in order to meet that 3-unit course requirement. What that looks like over a 15-week semester is 8 hours a week of work, right? Most of our internships are unpaid, and you're going to want to start applying for local internships the semester before you enroll in the class. And the reason for that is you're working in the criminal justice field. And most of the time they have these things called background checks that you have to pass through. I know that when I did a background check just as a researcher with Orange County Probation, that took me 3 months, right? And that was me bugging them constantly like, hello, where's my data, right? It takes time. So as you're thinking about applying for a local internship, you want to start doing that the semester before you enroll in the class. Now you can apply up to 6 units of internship, so 2 semesters worth, towards the 120 units that you need for graduation. If you are interested in a CJ systems sort of internship, working for police, corrections, working for local probation, working for a nonprofit agency, you're going to contact Dr. Spiropoulos, and I've included her email there. And I know Dr. Gardner has that available to put in chat for everybody. She teaches CJ 495. If you're interested in pre-law internships, working for the courts, working for the public defender's office, working for the prosecutor's office, district attorney, alternative counsel, working for a private law firm, working for a public law agency, you're going to work with Dr. Castro. He is also, by the way, our pre-law advisor. So for those of you that are interested in law school, I would encourage you to meet with him early. And so that way you can get some pre-law advising from day one. We also have a program where students go and do internships in Washington, D.C. in the spring and summer. Both Dr. Gardner and I have served as faculty and residents of that program. And so you could be living and working in D.C. for a semester or for the summer. We've had students in criminal justice work on Capitol Hill, work on various different committees. They've worked for nonprofit organizations and research houses like Police Foundation. They've worked for public agencies like Capitol Police or the Federal Pretrial Division. I've had students work for Polaris Project, which is a human trafficking organization, RAIN, which is the National Sexual Abuse and Incest Network, Death Penalty Information Center, which is an anti-death penalty group, right? So there's so many opportunities to be in DC, and DC is so much fun in the summertime in particular. It's a very young city, lots of energy and lots of just fun people doing good work, right? The professor in charge of that program is Dr. Doucette, and I've included her email here as well. You know, I could go on and on about internships because I'm a huge proponent in them. I think that internships can change your life. I think for a couple of reasons. One is either it says, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to do this every day for the rest of my life. Other times you might go, dear God, if I have to do this every day for the rest of my life, I'm going to lose my ish, right? I think both of those are really valuable lessons, right? We also talked a little bit about those kind of excess units. Remember that 4th box, right? You could do a minor. Minors are not required, but it is a nice way to kind of package together your coursework. And so I've included a link here about how to add a minor. Now, within the Division of Politics, Administration, and Justice, which is where we are here in criminal justice, we have 4 additional minors that students in criminal justice often pair with. We have interdisciplinary minors in law, politics, and society, as well as public policy. We also have traditional minors in political science and public administration. So a number of our students cross-list with those. And the nice thing there is that there are classes in criminal justice that will cross-list with classes in that minor. So things like our course in civil liberties can be both a CJ elective course as well as fulfill a elective course in the law, politics, and society minor. Dr. Gardner teaches a course in criminal justice policy that can count for the public policy minor as well as the CJ major as an elective. But we also have a variety of other kind of majors and minors. You know, if you want a double major, you do have to plan out your schedule pretty specifically in order to still do that in 4 years, but it can be done, right? Other minors, though, thinking about the things that you're interested in, maybe your career trajectory, right? A lot of our students are interested in law enforcement, right? So things like a minor in human services, child and adolescent studies, any one of our ethnic studies majors, African American, Asian American, and Chicano studies, right? Hello, Southern California, we are incredibly diverse. And if you want to work in policing, understanding working in diverse communities is incredibly important, right? So I'm a huge advocate of coursework there. Probably our most popular minor outside of our division is psychology and sociology, right? Those are our 2 most popular minors, as well as double majors. Students that are interested in the more kind of crime scene investigations, right? that background in biology and chemistry is hugely important. In fact, in some cases, I actually recommend students take majors in that and go for a minor in criminal justice, right? Biology and chemistry is that crime scene investigation side, right? Brand new dead things. Anthropology is really, really dead things, right? Archaeology, forensic anthropology, that sort of thing. Foreign language is also a great resource to have as a minor. And then for those of you that are interested in more of the cyber and identity crimes, certainly computer science and business are great assets to have there as well. All right, what should I take my first semester, right? I've given you so much information. Really what you want to know right here, right now, what do I enroll in? Okay. Remember I said you're going to be spending most of your time here fulfilling those first two boxes, right? So I've made recommendations here about picking one of your A classes, right? Either A1 or A2, oral communication or written communication, right? And then kind of whichever one you don't take, then you can take that in the spring, right? Picking classes from the B category, either your physical science plus your lab or your math class. Remember, that's Math 120. We talked about making sure that you enroll in CJ 100. One of the great features about that class is that you'll actually get an opportunity to be paired with a CJ mentor, which is another criminal justice major or minor student that, you know, really kind of helps partner with you to help you be successful here in this transition. You also want to focus on either a choice between your university requirement, which is your American government class, Political Science 100, or your GE in American history, right? Now, I have a little question down here. Do you have any AP units that will waive GE requirements, right? That's kind of important to keep in mind, particularly around the university requirement of American government. The American government AP exam, it will waive you from having to complete Political Science 100. However, you will still need to enroll later in Political Science 300 in order to get that California specific component that is mandated by the legislature. That is a Sacramento rule, as they say. And then kind of rounding that out experience, if you're going to take 15 units, is your ethnic studies requirement. And there's probably about 10 to 12 classes within African American studies, Asian American studies, and Chicana studies that will fulfill that requirement there. So you can kind of see you've got a little bit of wiggle room here this first year, right? You're really just chipping away at that GE, getting that golden 4, right? Your oral communication, your written communication. What's not listed here is critical thinking, right? The A3, right? Getting those math and sciences, right? Next semester, you'll start chipping away at the C, the arts and the humanities, right? But this is a good kind of screen to take a screenshot of. And so that way you know what to register for here in the fall. So how do you do that? Well, you're going to go to your student center right here on your portal. You can see that we've got these little icons across the top. And there's a couple of important ones that I like to point out here. You're going to use your student center a lot, and you're also going to use that Titan Degree Audit and Planner quite a bit. The Titan Degree Audit is a wonderful tool that helps you kind of almost, kind of keep you on track. That helps you kind of see where are you at, what holes have you filled in GE, what requirements do you still have left? How are you making progress towards that degree? So in order to register, you're going to go to the Student Center, and you're going to notice here over in the right-hand side, you will have dates for your enrollment, right? You can go ahead and add classes to your shopping cart before your registration date comes around, but you can't actually add them. The other challenge is that criminal justice is a very, very full department. We have over 1,500 majors and minors. So sometimes you might add classes to your cart, and when you come time to actually hit that registration button, some of them might be full, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. But those enrollment dates are super important. You really kind of want to make sure that you're kind of getting in there as soon as you can, right? So once you get over there, you're going to click here on your Student Center. We're going to have a button here onto the left-hand side that says Enroll. If you click there, it's going to take you to this page. This is what your shopping cart looks like. It's kind of like Amazon shopping cart, right? And we want to fill it up with all sorts of goodies, in this case, classes. So in order to find those classes, we're going to come over here to the left-hand side, click on Find Classes, and search. What are we searching for? Well, first of all, we want to make sure we're searching for classes in the right semester. So in this case, we're looking at fall 2021. We're also say we're looking for specific classes in criminal justice. Say we're looking for, whoopsie, go back. There we go. Maybe we're looking specifically for open seats in that CJ 100. You can type in 100 here in that little box that where it says course number is exactly. You can type 100 into that box. I also like that you can check that little blue box down there, because that will then weed out all of the classes that are already full for you. You also have an option down below to check whether or not you want to only search by schedule, right? So you only want to find classes that are open on Tuesday, Thursday, right? You have that option to do that. Once you do your search for classes, you're going to come up with a list that looks kind of like this. In this case, on this screen, I happen to be searching for sections of Political Science 100. Now, all these green dots here, that means that those classes are open and they have seats available. So you find the section that you want, you click on the select button. Now, there is something that I want to mention about our class schedule, right? That looks a little bit different, right? You see here, I kind of printed out something from last spring where we were fully online. There were no classes on campus, right? This semester, as I mentioned, it's a little bit different because we have a whole host of different classes. So for example, if you're looking for classes that are in person, there's a couple of key things that you can note. First of all, you're going to see that there is a day and a time, right? That's going to tell you that that's when that class is meeting. You know it's on campus because we've given you a classroom to meet in. In this place, here's a class. Professor Miller's class is meeting in the room Humanities 226 on Monday, Wednesday at 2:30, right? So that's how you know a class is on campus, right? Now, the entire flip side of that is a class that is asynchronous. This is a class where you're watching lectures that have been pre-recorded on your own time and usually submitting assignments, probably on a weekly basis, right? You're doing all your quizzes and exams and submitting papers and everything all online. You're not meeting at all as a group through Zoom or anything like that, right? How you know that's true, you'll see daytime TBA. That doesn't mean that, hey, at some point they're going to spring a class time on you. It just means that it is fully online, right? And you'll notice that also here because it says fully online instruction. That's your sign that a class is asynchronous. We also have classes that are synchronous, right? Where the room will still say fully online, but it will give you a time here. So in this particular case, Professor Lovell is going to be meeting his students on Zoom Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8:30 to 9:45 in the morning, right? And so you will be expected to be on Zoom on camera during those times. So I like to point out those things. And I know I mentioned also a little bit about this green circle, which means that a class is open. If a class has a wait list, it will have a yellow triangle. Generally speaking, most of our classes have a wait list of 5. And the only way in which students kind of come off that wait list is if somebody else drops that class. And then the computer will automatically advance students, right? As faculty, we do not have control over adding more students from the wait list to our classes, right? If a class has this kind of blue square, right, that means it's closed. The class is closed. The wait list is full, right? So chances are that's a really good sign that you should probably find another section. But remember, I told you, check that little blue box on that search, right? And it's only going to give you stuff that have the green circles, and also it will give you the yellow wait list. It's going to screen out the blue squares, those classes that are fully closed. All right, so if you remember, we clicked that little select button there, right? And so it added that course here to our class. And so, whoops, So basically it's like, yep, you added that, right? We're going to go ahead and click next. See here, if the class is full, you can check that checkbox, which is going to add you to the wait list. From here, it's just going to basically be confirming that, yes, this is what you want. You're going, yes, I really want to buy that item on Amazon. In this class, I really want to add Political Science 100, Section 01 that meets Monday, Wednesday, and Friday online from 9 to 9:50. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed, right? And then basically I'm going to review everything. I'm going to double check everything before I finally enroll, right? If I get a green check mark, I am fully enrolled, I'm good. And I'm just going to repeat that process by going here to add another class, right? Okay, so that's kind of a little bit about registration. How do you get more involved? We do have student clubs and activities in politics, administration, and justice, specifically around our criminal justice program. We have our Criminal Justice Student Association. The advisors of that program are Drs. Gardner and Kopp. They do have an Instagram and Twitter, as well as an email that you can kind of tap into. You know, I do believe that they have a enrollment fee that is set by the students, and that helps kind of provide some support to the activities that the club does. Alpha Phi Sigma is our honors association. The advisor for that is Dr. Herrera, and they have more information on their website that I've listed here. You do have to have a minimum GPA in order to be accepted and kind of inducted as a full member, but they will accept kind of you know, probationary members, if you will, right? That as you're kind of waiting to take those courses. And then for those who are interested in kind of pre-law, law school, we have a pre-law society, and the advisor for that program is Dr. Castro. So for more information about just kind of general GE and major advising, we do have our division website that I've included that list there. And if you don't really quite know where to start, and you just need some general information, there's a great wizard on our website, or you can go to it directly by going to bit.ly/PAJWizard. And you can kind of say, well, what help am I looking for? And you can kind of click that button and go, I need help reading my TDA, or I need help with choosing my classes, or I need help with, you know, I'm having, a problem and I need to speak to the chair, right? So that's going to kind of, it's like a little choose your own adventure sort of thing. And that's going to give you some information. If you need to meet with an academic advisor for GE advising, I've included a link to our academic advising center. And if you are looking for ongoing information for CJ advising, right, it's always great once a year to pop in, check in with a CJ advisor, make sure that you're on track. And that's the link to our advising there. As far as more resources here during orientation and registration, we do have our HNSS advising and registration website that's available for you. They are also doing some one-on-one support sessions for new students. They're going to be held all this week, all next week. Ooh, I was jumping ahead already. All next week from 1 to 2 o'clock. And here is the link where you can go and get more one-on-one support sessions about registration, how to add classes, if you want information about some of our study abroad programs, if you have questions about different things that are going on in the college, those are all great resources for you there. Any questions? Dr. Gardner, do you want to maybe kind of highlight some of the most common questions that we've seen in chat for maybe those students that have missed them?
Absolutely. So I think the main thing, I pasted a link for AP and IB classes. We also have students who are taking community college classes during high school as part of bridge programs and whatnot. So what you're all going to want to do is look at your TDA. That's what we call our Titan degree audit. And this is your guide to everything throughout your career at Cal State Fullerton. It shows you exactly what you need. And in fact, let me go ahead and can I share my screen? Let me share my screen real quick so I can show you guys what that looks like just real briefly. So this is somebody else's, so I'm not going to go all the way up to the top. Let me share my screen so you guys can see what a tight end degree audit looks like. And it'll tell you, here's your category A, and this student still needs to fulfill A2, but they fulfilled A1 and A3. So if yours looks like this, then just click on the arrow and it will show you what you have and what you still need. So for incoming freshmen, these are all going to be pretty much orange squares with black X's. And so you've got a whole slew of stuff to take. C1, C2, B1, B2, all of these things. This person is a transfer student, so these are things that transferred in from another college. But these are all going to be empty for you guys. So you really have a blank slate as to what you want to take your first semester, your first year. Your AP classes will get filled in with some of these things, like if you took AP physics or AP environmental science or whatever it is. And I apologize, I'm looking at my second screen instead of you guys, but you'll see all of these things here and it'll tell you all of the classes you can take. So I'm going to go ahead and just go down to like lifelong learning. Here's ethnic studies. This is a new one. So all of you guys will have this. You can click on this and it will tell you what this class is all about. So you can do that on any of these and you can decide that sounds super interesting. I want to take that class, and then you can do a class search for that and choose it or choose something else. So you should see your AP stuff here. You should also see your community college stuff here. If you don't, then you're going to want to talk to a general academic advisor. So unlike in high school where you have a single counselor who knows all of your stuff, here you are the keeper of your records and you are the one who has to go and get that advice from other people. And we have two main places for advice. We have your major department and we have your general education. So if it is about a general education requirement, that A through F plus Z, you are going to go to a general academic advisor, and that's that AAC. If it has to do with your major or your minor, you're going to go to that department. So let's say you're a criminal justice major and you have questions about specific criminal justice classes, then you're going to come to us and to make sure that you're on track to meet your major requirements. If you have a minor in psychology, you're going to go to the psychology department to get guidance about your psychology minor. So everything's in different places. Nothing's in a single place except you and your knowledge. So that TDA really helps you because that is that is your guide for all of your GE and your major. And if you choose a minor as well or a double major, those things will be on here as well. I think that's the main thing.
And I'm glad I have you as a partner because I haven't had kids in high school yet that did AP. So you are so much more the expert on AP than I am.
Yes. And again, a lot of high schools are doing these bridge programs. A lot of students are choosing to forego AP or IB, and they're taking the college classes, the community college classes, either as part of their high school experience or during the summers or something like that. So if that's you, congratulations, great job. You're going to be entering with a lot of units. And if you're entering with a lot of units, then you get to decide if you are going to double major, if you're going to go study abroad, if you are going to try and graduate early. Let me just say one thing about graduating early, especially if you're a young student. So when I entered college, I was 17, just for a number of reasons. And then I was going to finish after 3 years. And because somehow the competitive side of me is like, oh, I've got to rush through this. And oh, isn't this great if I graduate in 3 years because I can do it? Well, then I realized that I would be the ripe old age of 20 when I graduated. And then I realized, wow, what's next for me after that? And I started realizing it was my career. And I still had a lot of maturing to do. I still had a lot of growing to do. There were still a lot of experiences I wanted. So I pretty much put the brakes on that. I added a double major. I studied abroad. I tried adding a triple major, but my mom put the brakes on that and said, that's on you. Because I was going to add a couple years. So yay, mom, she was way right on that. But don't think of college as a race. Think of it as, this is an experience. I know Dr. Malakote and I both loved our college experiences. That's why we're here. That's why we teach. We just couldn't get enough of it and we couldn't leave. So we decided to make a career of it.
Yeah, I've never left college. I'm still in college.
I did leave. I spent about, like I said, 7 or so years out in the working world as a professional, but I did come back because I love learning. I love research. I love mentoring. I love being here in the academic environment, but this isn't a race. Look for opportunities to get involved, to connect with other students, to have experiences that you're not going to have when you're older. One of the best pieces of advice my mom gave me was to live for myself while I was young, because once I settled down and had a family, I was going to give up a lot for them. And she's right. When we become parents, we give up a lot for our kids. And to make sure that I pursued my dreams and followed those dreams before I settled down and started giving so much of myself to a spouse and kids. And that's some great advice that she gave me and that I want to give to you. So again, like, some of you are going to want to rush through this, and maybe that's the right decision for you, and that's okay. Some of you don't need to rush it. That might be the right decision for you. So figure out what's right for you, but don't think of this as you're going to school, going to classes, and that's it. Have some fun, enjoy learning, do an internship.
Get involved on campus, get involved in student clubs and organizations and Associated Students leadership, and really just become part of the Titan community, right? There is a vibrant community on campus. And it's going to be wonderful to be back on campus and really just kind of get involved and be engaged in that. So,
yeah.
If
So
there's
I've got.
other questions, let's throw them up in the chat.
Yeah, let me answer a couple of these. So somebody asks, so the TDA is like our schedule. Well, the TDA isn't like your schedule. It's like your transcript. It keeps track of the classes you've taken and it puts it in the right category. So you have categories A, B, C, D, E, and F. And within those categories, you have like A1, A2, A3. So basically what it does is it takes all the classes you've taken and it puts it into the right category. So you can see that you fulfilled all of these university requirements. So it's better thought of as a transcript. And then somebody
Dr.
asked
Garner,
about,
actually, since you're saying that real quick, can you share that screen again of the TDA? There's something I want to point out about it. Our TDA is wonderful in that it really organizes things. So if you see that blue check mark here right up at the top, that means that you have fulfilled that requirement. You're good, you're done, right? When you see these orange X's, that's a, hey, there's something you need to do here. And then the nice thing is, and I think Dr. Gardner kind of showed this a little bit, it gives you a list of what you need to do to fulfill that. So that way you're not guessing at what classes meet the D3 or the this, right? You don't have to guess. The system will do that for you. So pay attention to blue check marks and orange X's. I'll be honest, I liked it so much better when it was green, go, red, stop, right? But right, we've got Titan colors here. Check marks are good. X's are pay attention and kind of give it some awareness. So thank you.
So your Z, your category Z, these classes all overlap with classes in another category. So make sure that you're using this category, like you're signing up for something else, another category you need, and that it also fulfills category Z. Mm-hmm. So that's probably a little bit later because these are all 300 level classes, I think, for the most part. You're then going to get your major requirements are underneath your GE, and then it'll give you all sorts of different GPAs, and it'll tell you, here's where you look to see if you've satisfied your American government, and then unit requirements, if you've transferred any courses in. So if you are from a community college, I don't know that your community college classes are going to show up here. I'm not sure where they're going to show up for you.
That is where they show
They
up.
could,
Yep.
well, even in a high school. So
Oh,
probably,
that's a good question.
so I'm not sure. It might be there, it might be someplace else, but here is where a list of all your classes are. And then underneath here is where your CSUF classes are going to be. There was a question about AP scores. So AP scores aren't in until July. I would say that if you are fairly confident that you pass that, do not take that class in the fall. You've got plenty of time to take these other classes. So if you're not sure if you passed an AP class that's going to get you out of some requirement, don't sign up to take that requirement in the fall. Just wait to see how that goes and then sign up for it later. Or you might be able to sign up for it after July, after you get your scores in, if that becomes necessary. And can you join a sport during this? So we have all sorts of club sports and both competitive club sports. We obviously have D1 sports. So if you think you're the caliber of athlete to be able to participate and do a walk on to a D1 athletic sport, you are certainly welcome to do that. We have intramural sports for those of us who love playing a particular sport, but maybe not club material or maybe not D1 material. So lots of those opportunities. Any other questions?
So Cindy, looks like here has a question about AP English class and it covers units. So then chances are you will not, my guess is then you're not going to be required to take the written communications GE requirement. You will still need to take your upper division writing requirement for your major, which will be English 301, which you will take usually second semester of your sophomore year, first semester of your junior year. But if you have an AP English class and it covers units, chances are that's going to already fulfill one of those A-level courses.
So Dominique, the questions about the classes you took at community college, those are best going to be answered by a general education advisor. They're the ones who are going to have that knowledge, as opposed to me and Dr. Malakote, who know a lot about the criminal justice major, but not as much about transferring stuff for GE. The link for submitting your high school transcript, that is going to be through the records, and I had that up at one point, but I don't know if I still have it up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in this link. This is a link for records and a contact page. So there are some, I think that page will have the information you need about submitting your high school transcript. All right, well, thank you everyone, and congratulations. Welcome to Cal State Fullerton. My hope for you, and I know Dr. Malakote's hope for you, is that you just enjoy your time at Cal State Fullerton and also meet somebody, greet somebody. When you get on campus, just say hi. You know, that's one of the things that I know a lot of people are really afraid to I know we've got a lot of shy folks. I've got one of my kids is super shy, but if you can just say hi to somebody sitting next to you in class, break the ice. Everybody wants to know their classmates. They want to make friends, and everybody's afraid to do so. Well, at least most people. So be that brave person and turn to your neighbor and say, hi, I'm Christy. And let them say, hi, I'm Stacy. And then ask, where did you come from? Or whatever other questions you ask, right? So pick a fun question and just get to know your classmates. You're going to want to have these folks with you, especially in criminal justice, because you're going to be going with them through the degree process. And it's always nice to know somebody in class. but also it's really important to be able to strike up conversations with random people, especially if you're in criminal justice, because a lot of our fields and a lot of the jobs require talking to people. And the better you can get at doing that in class, and at school, where it's a place where other people want to make friends, the better it is. So I encourage you to reach out and make friends.
All right, and we are out of time. So I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today. Again, this recorded session will be available on the orientation website, but certainly you can reach out to our advisors in criminal justice for additional support if you have questions.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.